Hey, good morning, everyone. So, as usual, I'm on my morning walk. Apologize for my voice. The air quality is pretty rough here, and it seems to be affecting me. Either that, or I'm just having a rough morning. I don't know. So today, I want to talk about the new buzzword that's being used constantly, every day by millions of people worldwide. Triggers. Everybody has triggers. There's things that trigger us, there's things that upset us, there's things that cause us to have an emotional outburst sometimes, or just like a twinge of an emotional storm inside of us. I think it's very normal. As I said with when I spoke about insecurities, it's normal to be triggered. But I'm going to talk about that word and like what it means to me, and how it seems to be a word that gets thrown around a lot now, and maybe overused a bit, or not overused, but used badly. So I grew up in the 80s. We didn't have the word trigger in the 80s. If someone said something to you, you had two responses, and they boiled down to you hurt my feelings or you pissed me off. We never delved into why that was, which feeling you hurt, why it was hurt. We just knew that you hurt my feelings and you pissed me off, and you really only had, maybe three options back then. You accepted it, you found a group of other people who, knew how to internalize that and find safety together, or you didn't say anything, went home, cried to your parents. And in the 80s, I'll tell you, you probably didn't get a lot of sympathy. There weren't a lot of safe spaces for us in the 80s. And I use the word safe space. Okay, so we were safe. You went home, you were safe. You had a roof over your head, you had food on the table. Sometimes safe space equates to me too much coddling. But that's my old school, old guy mentality. The other option was in the 80s, you hurt my feelings, you pissed me off. You immediately started swinging. It was a fight. Everybody loved that third response. It was everybody's favorite. But today, there are way more options to that. I think people are better equipped to deal with it. I believe that my generation, and probably the generation just after me, I'm not sure what the generations are called. I don't know Gen Z or Millennial. I'm not sure where those age groups fall, but they deal better, because to me a trigger is it's stealth trauma. It's something that affects you because something happened at some point in your life that it either happened subconsciously, consciously, but you haven't dealt with it. So when someone says something that makes you upset or hurts your feelings, you have to figure out why that is. The key to that isn't always fighting back, arguing, going on the internet. What you should do is unravel what it is in real time. By the way, I always stress in real time. It's my favorite thing, because I deal with insecurities, I deal with trauma, I deal with those things in real time as they happen. So someone says something to me and it happens, daily, weekly, that upsets me, and I'll go and I'll immediately sit down and think about that, and I won't get upset at them, because as much as we'd like to believe, you can't stop people from saying things. People are going to say, some people are malicious and they say it on purpose because they want to hurt you. Other people just say things because they don't think it's going to hurt you. They're not trying to hurt you, they just don't realize. So they've said something, it has triggered you, and you're thrown off your game. Your energy's wrong, everything's wrong, and you immediately think, how could that person do that? Why would they say that? The answer is, who cares why they did it, and who cares why they said it? That's their journey. You have to figure out why that affected you so profoundly. It's like when you start out your day like the wires in the back of your TV. You put them there and they're all nice and straight and everything's good, and nobody touches them. You go back there one day and they're so badly knotted, it's going to take you hours to unknot these things. Well, that's what a trauma response is. Your wires are straight that day, and all of a sudden, boom, they're knotted. They're completely knotted in the back of the TV. So you could swear and say, fucking wires, how do they get like this? What a pain in the ass. And you start unraveling them and you're upset and you're swearing. Or you can go back there and quietly and maturely try to unravel these wires and figure out, how does this happen? And is there a solution to this? Like, should I put zap ties around these? Like, there's a whole bunch of things you can do to unravel those wires and keep them unraveled. Oversimplification, obviously, of you know, human emotions and feelings, but to me that's what trauma is. It's not a trigger that you need to respond to, that you need to be instantly affected by. You're going to be affected by it, but figure out why. Delve deep. Go take a minute. Go sit down. Take 10 minutes. It's almost like a quiet meditation, even though you don't realize you're meditating. You just sit back and you think, okay. Every time someone says this, every time someone says to me, Brian, do you ever shut up? It's been an ongoing thing since I'm a kid. People say it to me. And then I look around the room and I'm like, but everybody's laughing. Almost everybody. Everybody seems to be having a good time. But someone says, do you ever shut up? And immediately, I'm done. I've actually told that person, you know, well, I've told them some not polite things in the past. But that's one of my trauma responses. So, you know, now I try to deal with it in real time. Have I figured out why that affects me so much yet? No. I've been working on it. I've been trying to unravel it. I've been trying to figure out where the trauma came from. But, you know, again, remember, our parents didn't have the tools or the education to know how to deal with trauma. They had more trauma than we did. By far, their parents had way more trauma than they had. Nobody was talking about it up until very recently, maybe past 10 years. It's become a real hot topic. So all I could say and all I can input about this is, you know, if you look at a microcosm of it. So now we've got, we'll call them right and left, and there's people that are always fighting and everybody's so divided. So someone will post something on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, wherever, and they'll post a video and they'll be very emotional and they'll be talking about something that happened to them that triggered them or caused an emotional, you know, trauma response. And immediately, instantly, you've got a huge amount of people that support them. Whether they're right or whether they're wrong, they just support them. And it's very supportive. And then you've got the other group who jump on and tell them that you're just a baby. You know, when I grew up, we drank from a garden hose. I never drank from a garden hose. We didn't have garden hoses in Point St. Charles. Only rich kids had garden hoses. We didn't have gardens. So, you know, and they're thinking, oh, here's another person looking for validation on the internet. Here's another baby that needs to be coddled, so I'm going to comment. And you know what that person does? They sit there and they wait for the comments to come in on their side. So they'll go in there and they'll complain about this person doing that and how much it bothers them. Good morning. But then they'll go and do the exact same thing. Everybody's doing the same thing. You know why? Because everybody's hurting. Everybody wants validation. Everybody wants to be loved. And everybody wants to know that they're not alone in their beliefs. I need to tell you all that that does not make your beliefs right. Just because 140,000 people agree with you on the internet doesn't make you right. It doesn't make them right. It also doesn't make you wrong. It just makes you human. But be aware, everybody be aware that every time you do something like that, every time you have a knee-jerk response to a feeling or a trigger, as you know, it is a great word. I just think it's overused. But when you get triggered on either side of the spectrum, we're all doing the same thing. We're looking to be validated. You know, I think it's a very human thing. And I think instead of fighting each other about it and arguing with each other about it, maybe we should just talk to each other about it. Because in real life, you wouldn't say that to somebody. There are very few people who will sit there in a real life setting, sitting in a coffee shop, having a coffee, and someone says something and you get triggered. You're not going to immediately get up and voice your opinion to them. It's just not what we do. It's just not a human thing. And if you do, well, you're a very, very opinionated person. And that's probably something you should look at. So today I just wanted to talk about that and let everybody know that, you know, don't react to your triggers or your trauma responses immediately. You know, so many people someone says something to them that really upsets them. And instead of going and taking a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to really think about why that hurt them and how to not be hurt in the future, how to fix that hurt, how to heal it, let it heal. Instead, they immediately get on their phone and they text or they call somebody to complain about what just happened and to badmouth the person that did it, whether it was malicious or not. And guys, I'll tell you something, whenever you call somebody or you text somebody, you're subconsciously texting or calling the person you know is going to feed the wolf. They're just going to tell you what you want to hear. I don't even know if they're interested in your problem, because it's not really a big problem to them. So yeah, it's good. It's good to be able to vent and to get some positive affirmation about how you feel, but in the end, it's not the healthy route. Keep your friends there, keep your family there, talk to them when you need to. But please, for you and for me, and for the crazy world we live in, figure out why that upset you so much. Figure out why it made you cry or made you mad. There's something that happened to you in the past. There's an event or a series of events or a long occurring event that caused you to feel that way. It's not the world's responsibility to make you feel better. It's not the world's responsibility to not say anything that is going to upset you. It's your responsibility to take care of yourself. It is far better and far more beneficial to be capable than it is to be safe. That's it for this morning. Everybody have a good day. Bye.